Okay, so I think it's going. So today we're really going to just go over the syllabus portion of our course website. And stop me if you have questions, and I'll try to pause and kind of allow you to interject as well. So we're gonna go over the philosophy section first. So my background is I'm not really a professor, or I don't teach a lot of at UH. Mainly, my day job is a software person for the Navy. So how we work is there's no right or wrong answer usually. Is we have an objective, and then we plug along as a team to kind of solve it. So this course, I'm trying to meld the two between academia and the real workplace. So most leads, they can only guide a team member. So this course is kind of like a guide. Depending on how you want to take your application, I'll try to guide you to articles or help you along with bugs. Like I said, I don't have answers for everything, so that's all I can really do is help guide you and then help you find your way. So what I can do is kind of teach you the basics, kind of lay a foundation, and after that, you can take it where you want. You know, if you want to learn certain things like AI or data visualization, you can go that route. And again, I'll try to guide you as much as I can and support you in your path. And to accomplish this, I'm really taking some project management ideas from industry, from my workplace, and how I've worked with my teams, the teams I've been on. So a lot of agile-ish. We don't prescribe everything. We don't do everything agile prescribes. Some things I find work better than others, and certain things lend itself to the culture that we have at my workplace, and I'm sure we're gonna find things in academia. So for that, we're gonna leverage some of those ideas. So my role, I think, within this agile framework is I'll be more or less like the product owner or the end user. So I can give you feedback on your app that we're all going to learn to try and build this term. And then your role will be kind of like project manager, developer, managing your own time, developing the app. Okay, and then it's been a while since I've been in school, but one of the things I remember while in school was interviewing for jobs, and having a project to talk about at interviews was a thing. So I'm hoping that with this course, you can add something to your resume, your portfolio that you can then talk to at your interview. And then it's up to you. You can build it yourself, or you can find some teammates on this class to kind of build it. And then you can have more discussion points with the interviewer about your team dynamic, your team skills. So again, you can make this class however you want on it, and I'll support you as much as I can. So again, yeah, so it's a little bit different from normal academia, but I hope you enjoy it. And then last but not least, be empathetic. Jeff Bezos, the CEO of Amazon, had a graduation speech. And then one of the quotes I get from there is it's harder to be kind than clever. And in academia, where there's so much focus on the right answer, turning things on time, but a lot of teaming is lost. And so I do want to emphasize that. And this is kind of how the course page is set up too. There's links to the relevant information if you wanted to know more. I don't intend for the ad, but it's there. So if you actually wanted to see the whole speech, it's there. I don't want to put it in the page to distract, but everything links out to more information should you want to explore more. So those are some general philosophies I have. Any questions, comments, or concerns regarding that? Clarification. All right. Silence is agreement. Okay, so we're gonna move on to logistics. So I'm really paranoid. Can I get a mic check that everyone's hearing me? I'm not on mute this whole time. Okay.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes, we
Awesome,
can hear you.
thanks. Yeah, okay. Paranoia, sorry. Logistics. So this page here that I linked to, and hopefully you got in your email and in the chat now. Everything. This is the focal point. I'm hoping that with this website you'll get to everything you need. If not, let me know and I can add links where I can. And as someone mentioned, there's a calendar. So it's a tentative schedule about the topics we'll be introducing in each lecture. And I'll try to keep it up to date as much as possible. And then we'll talk about these different topics a little bit and how it's broken out into basically 2 phases here. So you can add it to your phones to make things a little easier. It's there if you want. And then if it does change, I'll try to update it. So here's a link if you want to subscribe. And additionally, everything you need for this course should be available on the internet, should be free. If you ever need to pay, please don't. Let me know, and then I'll figure out why you were blocked. And then communication. So we're gonna leverage a few things here. I don't really like Laulima's collaboration tools, so I'm gonna use some things that I found, and hopefully it'll be okay. And then we can adjust if you don't like it. So one is a mailing list. So, well, I shouldn't do that. So you can use your email. I figure everyone has email, so we can default to that. And but what this mailing list does, it also allows you to search through, say like, you know, I'm hoping that if this is the first class, so there's nothing here, but subsequent classes, if there's questions that's repeated, I'm hoping you can kind of find it. And of course, if someone asks, I'm hoping that because it's an email distribution, everyone will have the same insight. So we have the mailing list, and I think if you have pretty concrete questions, I think that'll be good. It also helps me manage the email better, a little bit better than the other tools. So I'm hoping I'm gonna strive for making announcements and keeping everything official on there. So as quickly as possible, get comfortable groups.io, sign up for it. It is public, so if you have concerns about privacy, use your personal or a fake email. As long as you can get the emails, it's fine. So yeah, just hope that, yeah, if it's just regular email you're sending to me, it'll be hard for me to share it with the next students that have the same question. Okay, any questions on that tool? Awesome. The next one is chat. So the emails failing is that it's a little bit slow. So if there's ever a problem you want to work through in real time, I think chat is great. And with this link, you should be able to join this Hawaii Slack community. And there's a channel in there called EE491F, or you can go to the link. And I'll show you what that looks like. So here, your classmates have already signed up, so that's great. And so we're gonna stay within here. This group, this Hawaii Slack, is a lot of techie developer types in Hawaii or remote. People working in the industry, maybe working remotely from Hawaii, or people from Hawaii that's moved away. So I think it's a great way to make connections. And also I'm hoping that some of them might help us with technical questions if we're stuck on anything. So reaching out for help, and who knows, maybe you'll meet someone and they can refer you to a job after you graduate, right? Or something, or you just never know. So that's why, instead of making our own silo chat where it's just us, I figured this will be a little bit, this opens the chance for a little bit more miracles in a sense. So it is a Hawaii local group. Aside from this chat room, we're not affiliated in any way. So I just asked if I could use the chat room, and they said yes. So, and that's about it. We don't have to pay any fees or anything like that. So that's the second communication channel. But if you ask questions here, chat, it could just keep on going. So that's why if you have questions you really need an answer to, the email app will be a little better, just so I can make sure it gets answered. If it's in chat, I might miss it. But if we're having a discussion in real time, chat will be great for that. Any questions on that before we move on to the next topic? Okay. So one of the tools we use on my teams at work is VS Code Live Share. It allows us to edit the same code it allows multiple people to edit the same files. So if you're stuck on a bug, and if you have this installed and you're sharing your workspace, me or your teammate or your fellow classmates can go in and help you troubleshoot. So it's not required, but when you're stuck, I think that's a tool we'll leverage. And it should be free. But if you have a preference over other editors, like VI or Emacs, you can use that, or NetBeans or JetBrains, I don't know. But VS Code is pretty popular. For the fanatics, it does have Emacs and Vim bindings. So it's there. And last but not least, if you have confidential things, you can always email me directly or use Laulima's. They allow you to send emails through the app. So yeah, anything confidential, that'll be the best place. Okay. Questions so far? All right. So office hours, I plan to just have it immediately after class. I find that works best. If there's something in the lecture or in the discussion, or you're stuck on something, we can definitely address it right after class. That way we don't have to make any more appointments, and we're all there. And then anyone who wants to sit in on the discussion can. If you want a more one-on-one, face-to-face, just let me know. We can arrange for an appointment or something, whatever you prefer. But hopefully everything can be virtual as much as possible. Okay, and then what else is this? So during lecture or discussions or just meetings, I might whiteboard diagrams. And when that's done, it should be saved so you don't have to take notes to this OneDrive. It should be shared. And I'm going to start out with this Jamboard. And then you can all, you don't have to take notes, is what I'm trying to save you from. The notes should be there as well as recorded on the video, so you don't need to worry about those kind of minutia. And I'm going to start with this Jamboard. I'm going to keep on adding to it, but if it gets too unwieldy or hard to manage, we'll create more Jamboards, and then they'll all be kind of in this folder. And then the discussion meeting videos recordings should be all uploaded here. So these links should be there for you to use. Again, everything is free. I don't want you to pay for anything, and then, I don't know, we need to reimburse you or something, because I don't know how that would even work. Okay, so questions, comments, concerns about that piece? Tough one. Yeah. Hopefully it won't get to that point. Okay, so if there's nothing, we'll move on to the next section here. So what you do need, everything is free and on the internet, but on your end, you do need a computer with internet access. And you do need a computer that allows you to develop. So this will link down to this section here. Don't do that. So yeah, hopefully your computers are up to snuff. I don't anticipating like you needing a gaming machine or anything, but you know, something like a Chromebook might not work. So there's that. So everything is either on this website that we're looking at or linked to it from this website. Again, it's free. And a lot of the tools we use has their own documentation, like Slack, groups.io, and eventually Heroku. So we'll use the company's docs. They're there, they're great. They're much better than what I can do. So definitely use that as much as possible. All of the technologies is open source. We use a lot of open source at work. Otherwise, we can't build everything ourselves. And then last but not least, like, you know, you're not the first person to go through learning web development. You're not the last. There's tons of people who's posted on Google. There's articles Google will help you search up. Stack Overflow is there. So those are definitely resources you can leverage on. And if you ask me a question that I don't know, those will be the first resources I'll turn to as well. So so much so that there's actually a satirical article about it. It's no longer up, but there's this tweet about it, about how, you know, we're changing, or IEEE is changing the CS major to be called Googling on Stack Overflow. So that's there. It's real. So so don't be afraid of Google. All right. Any questions, comments about that thus far? Awesome. Okay. Can I get another mic check? Okay, cool. Thanks. All right, grading. Probably my least favorite. So there's really two sections. There's the exercises to kind of help lay the foundation, and then there's the product, which is the bulk of your grade. And this is the end goal, right? At work, we don't do exercises and get a grade. We deliver products, and that's what I want to do here. At the end of this class, you should have a live website that anyone on the internet can reach. We're going to work towards that goal. And yeah, so that's how it's broken out. You know, again, I don't expect you to know everything, so make the mistakes, learn from the failures. I'm here to help you through it. But I can't help you if you don't communicate, right? So please communicate your progress, have updates, give transparency into your work. This is something that's kind of real. I notice a lot of the junior developers come in and they're kind of scared to kind of look like they're failing because academia gives you a bad grade if you do, so this is totally opposite. We want to kind of reword. We don't want you to work alone and then just turn in something on a deadline. We want you to kind of like keep the team up to date. If you're stuck, let the team help you, move you along, and help you get unstuck. And this right here is our team, right? So as a team lead, it's actually more concerning if you hear nothing from team members. So whether you have good updates, good news or bad news, it's good to deliver some sort of news. Because when you hear nothing, it's like, you're scared, you don't know what to do, or how to help. And then you don't want something a bomb dropped at the last minute. So the earlier you can get some feedback, the earlier management can help you out. Okay, so again, no judgment. We're all just trying to learn and help each other out, leverage each team member's unique skills and gifts. And the only way to do that is to communicate, right? So be proactive, try to find solutions on your own, but know when to ask for help, right? So the difference between junior and senior that I kind of see is knowing when you're stuck and you need to get help. And so my rule of thumb for someone starting out is err on the side of asking for help more often than not. And then once you find that boundary, that threshold, you're good to go. So one quote that I like that summarizes this, not really tech stuff, but it came from the Bible, but you don't have to be religious. I even found the one that didn't have God in it. But grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. So, if you're struggling through a problem, you're gonna need the courage to kind of either ask for help or, or continue down something. But knowing when to ask for help and the wisdom between struggling through or asking for help, I think that's where the wisdom lies. So that's a little bit of a shoehorned, but hopefully that gets through. And lastly, the project. So again, at the end of the day, we want to deliver. And when you're at work, you have to balance between learning and delivering. So that's yet another skill. But what you want to avoid or keep in mind is don't over-engineer something. If there's a simple solution, go for it. Don't future engineer, go play it. So there's links on what those terms mean. And then, yeah, I think that was it. Yeah, so sometimes when you're starting out, you're focused on one task and you want to make that one task great, but overall, there's this way bigger project that needs to be done. So, you know, it's stated otherwise in other ways. You know, there's that KISS, right? Keep it simple. Um, so yeah, they're all there. And then the final grade is, this is the breakdown. 85, 70, 55, 40. So anything, it could be A plus, and these are all entered into La Lima. What do we do on time? Okay. So okay, I guess it's not shown, but those thresholds are all entered into here. So um, it'll be automatic. Um, and I'm just gonna let La Lima do the rounding, and then we will use a plus minus system. I haven't decided those thresholds. So I'm going to take a look at the distribution and then figure out those plus minus thresholds. But if you have an 85, you're guaranteeing A, or whether that's A plus or A minus, or maybe 70 is a better example. 70, you're guaranteed a B or better, whether that's A minus, B plus. We'll figure that out based on distribution. Um, any questions so far? All right. Okay, so again, this course, there's 2 phases. The learning and exercises to give you the foundational, the basics, and then you're gonna be off on your own to do the project, and that'll be the second phase. So if we look at the calendar, you'll notice that from now until about the 18th, here is all kind of like showing you some basics, having you go and do some exercises, learn it, get some hands-on, and then build on that. And then once you get to the 18th, from there on, you're kind of just focused on for the following 2 weeks on kind of building a project. And the class time it'll be a bit of a hackathon. I'll be here to help you, and you'll be here to work with your team. Of course, I'm expecting 1 hour a day is not going to help you build it, but 1 hour where everyone's together might help you get over some humps, and then you'll take that back with your team and either work on it some more or divide and conquer, however you and your team decide. All right. So again, blend of agile. I don't know how it's going to work out in academia, but please just keep an open mind. It might be a bit foreign from your other classes. So at the beginning of each lecture, I'm hoping that we'll do a daily stand-up. It's one of the agile ceremonies. You basically have an update, and then if there's any blockers, your team members can help you. So for us, it'll be kind of like these are the 3 questions you'll answer. What did you accomplish yesterday? What do you plan on accomplishing today? And if there's anything blocking you, and then we can kind of just go through everyone's up status. And then if there's anything like a group of people are stuck on the same problem, maybe that's the topic we can go through at office hours, either before the next topic, right after stand up, or like after class, depending on how in-depth that topic might be. So this is your chance to communicate any blockers So again, yeah, I think that's what we just said at first. So one of the things we do at work is we don't try to answer the question right away. We let everyone go through their status, and then whoever needs to stay for discussion can stay, and whoever can just move on and get their own task done and can contribute, then they just move on. So so just keep that in mind. We're gonna try to streamline things where it helps the majority of students, and if it doesn't, if it's kind of a single instance, we'll push that to the end of the class so we don't hold up everyone else's time. Not because it's not important, it just flows a little better that way. For assignments, at some point, you'll learn Git and use GitHub, and you will post your code there. And we have a GitHub project. So you can, at some point, you'll be added to this group. And these are some ways we're going to track the tasking. And yeah, so you'll post your code here. And then you'll turn it in Lalima. So in Lalima, so for this one exercise, let me make this a little bigger. You go to your assignments tab, and you have an exercise. And yeah, most of the exercise is credit, no credit. But in here, you'll just provide a link to your repo on GitHub. And I think that's how I'll do it. I don't want you to post your entire code into Lalima because I can't compile it by reading it. So, of course, once you submitted it, you can still change your code, right? So I'm not like nitpicky on like you gotta be hands off. Once you submit it, you can continue to update it. That's what we do at work. Once you deliver something, it's not final. You're gonna get feedback and you're gonna iterate. So you can do that. But I was actually thinking not even kind of allow you to not even submit anything. But I do want to make sure you're progressing. So as a project lead, you kind of make sure the project's moving along. So these Lalimas is a way to kind of like make sure these Lalima assignments are a way to kind of make sure that the team as a whole is progressing towards building that final project. So, and the deadlines are already in there. Again, I'm not, I don't want to make things hard. So I gave you pretty much like 2 weekends to do it. So I'm hoping that's sufficient. But you really, most of these exercises, I'm hoping is just a one or 2 day thing. But there's leeway there. And if that's an issue, let me know. And then occasionally we'll do retrospection. Another thing out of Agile is what's working well and what we should change. So yeah, so we're gonna do some retrospection if there's time. And then I know at the end of each semester, you guys have that course survey, but that's really useless to me because the course is over. So I'm hoping there's these checkpoints that allow you to give me feedback on what's working, what's not, what we can do more of, or what we can do less of. And truth be told, you're not the first class. I actually taught this at my work. So they actually gave me some feedback, which I've incorporated, and hopefully you'll benefit from their feedback. And I'm hoping the next term, or the next people that goes through this will benefit from your feedback. So I have made adjustments based on it. So it is something I use to guide me in delivering this stuff. Okay. So we're all about growing and improving. That's the whole intent, not judging or any of the negative stuff. Okay, so the daily stand-up and the retrospections are about the few things I can think of to use in a classroom setting. Agile, of course, has like demonstrations, sprint planning, closing, but that was a little bit hard to fit into a classroom setting. So, but if you have an idea, let me know. Okay, so again, the last part is the project. It's going to be a bit of a hackathon feel. But I'm not asking you to like spend all weekend doing it and drink Red Bull. So please don't do that. Okay. Any questions so far before we switch gears to project? All right. Mic check. Okay, cool. Thanks. Also don't want my internet to have dropped out too, right? All right. So again, the goal is really for you to build an app that you can talk to at interviews, that you can, say you built, see how the whole process is done. I'm not expecting like a spectacular app that's going to be on like Hacker News, right? But at least you've gone through it, and if you ever need to build something, the major steps that are involved. But it is cool to see your app deploy. Like seeing it on your own machine is cool, but having it live on the internet is just one step up. So I do want to shoot for that goal. Okay. So the most basic requirements is that, well, again, choose a project you're interested in. I think that'll get you the most excited in doing it. If I told you to build something, it might not be your interest, and it's just easier to self-motivate yourself. So choose something you're interested in, and I kind of like it because it gives me ideas on what, yeah, I just can't think of all the ideas. So you coming up with what you love, great. So basic requirement is that the project should be accessible from the internet. Any user with a web browser should be able to get to it, use it, and it should be dynamic. Like this site right here is static, right? If I refresh it, it's always going to be the same. So your site, if someone makes a post or blog, it should update. It should be changing. It should be a living thing. Sorry. It moved me. Okay, so it should be dynamic, not static. But we will learn how to make static pages initially, because you gotta start somewhere. So the data needs to be able to change without you hard coding it and changing the exact website. So a web application lends itself well, but if you find like you really want to do something else, let me know and we can try to figure out how to tie in your idea with what the class requirements are. So that's the basic requirements. And then the rubric, this one is actually in La Lima. So this is how I'll kind of grade in a sense. So you have access to this, so you know what I'm looking for, and you know how much each point is. So those are kind of like the lowest hanging fruit. Hit those objectives, and after that, whatever you want to build, go for it. And yeah, so it's transparent. You know what I'm looking for. If you hit it, you get the points. Those are bare minimum. So it's there. So prior to us getting to the project phase, I do want you to start thinking in the background what you want to work on and who you want to work with. Start socializing on chat, or I'm hoping most of you kind of see each other and know who each other is based on your previous classes. Then you can feel free to form your teams that way. Again, please have an idea at the very minimum by this 18th date, so that you can just start going. Additionally, if this course moves slow for you, you can actually start now. And if you have your app up and running, tomorrow, I can help you grade it, and your grade will be set in, and then you can just take the rest of the month off, right? Like, as long as you have it and you demonstrated you can do it, I really don't care about, I don't know, these dates that's artificial. Okay, so it's there. And of course, you can read through this site. You don't need me to read through it for you. And then you can always bring back your questions. I'll definitely answer them. Okay. And again, you can work by yourself if you want. There's this African saying, if you want to go quickly, go by yourself. If you want to go far, go with others. So if it's something you want to just get done, go for it. Make sure you hit the minimum requirements. But if you want to kind of build something more elaborate, you can still do it yourself. It'd be a little more painful, but if you go do it with others, you can divide and conquer. Okay, so I'm hoping by the mid-review, which is 1 week after when we transition to projects, you should be able to turn in something. Hopefully, something is up and running. It might not have meet all the requirements, but at least you have something to show, something that I could see on the internet, and I can I can grade it, and then let you know what your score would be if the class ended on this date. If you have the grade you want, you're done. If you want to make modifications and improve, you have another week to do so, and then I'll grade it again on the 2nd. But try not to submit too much. I don't want to be grading continuously. Okay, everything will return into Laulima. Once I submit the grades, you should hopefully see it in Laulima, so you're kind of tracking your grade as it progresses. I do have a day job, so I'm not guaranteeing how quickly that will be, but I'll do my best. And yeah, if you want to request a review sooner or more often, let me know, and I'll do that. So, high overview of the rubric. This is exactly the same thing I showed in Laulima, but grouped. So it should be accessible from the internet. Right there you have your 40 points. Again, it should be able to update, be functional, right? You can create, read, update, delete data. It's called CRUD, C-R-U-D. So they can do CRUD. That's another 15 points. And then, for the bonuses, like people, I don't want you to always just shoot for the bare minimum. If you can make something complicated, do something that's a little more difficult than what the class has provided you with. Whether it is having model associations, parent-child, many-to-many, one-to-many, have something that looks nice, slicker, very more responsive user interface, or use some sort of maybe data visualization or data analytics library, right? Just something, and then that'll be 15 points extra. I think that'll hopefully get a delineation between doing the bare minimum and then actually doing something that's pretty cool. And then lastly, uniqueness. Again, everything is open source. You could more or less just copy another app that's just on the internet. There's tons of apps all over the internet. But if you can, make an app that does a little bit different from what the core from your teammates or from what we went over in class, I think that deserves more points. So there's that. And as much as us STEM type people want to believe that there's a right and wrong answer, there isn't. And there isn't like one criteria that will make your app successful. What you need is to kind of sell it to people, and selling it to people, your user interface will be one way to sell it. If your user interface is easy to use, you're gonna have more users. But if it's clunky, no matter how awesome your app in the back end is, no one's gonna be able to use it. So there's that. So some basic, I didn't put too much weight on this, but this is important. Every app kind of needs it. So the ability to create an account, log in and log out. I'm not asking you to like get all the info, but just maybe an email and a password, and I'm not asking you to be like, hacker proof, just something. Because it's necessary. And then lastly, these little small wins here. If you can use best practices, automated testing, test coverage, documentation, linting, security, static code analysis. If you can use those best practices, that'll be kudos, because that'll benefit your team members at work. But it's not something we go into, so I don't weigh it too heavily. But it's there, and I want to give it its. It is important, so I want to give it something. And so, the app that we go through in the class is pretty simplistic. It's using like a previous generation of technology, vanilla JavaScript. But if you're able to bring in a front-end framework, I think that's great too. And so that's one way. And if you have other things that you think deserve more points, let me know, and I'll weigh them. So this kind of going above and beyond. We don't go through it, but there's tons of documentation, and you can do it. And I've heard from another ICS professor that he actually went through it. So if you had his class, this will be trivial for you, hopefully. So it's there, and if you want to make use of it, you have the opportunity. But if you haven't gone through it, you're not dinged, because this is just extra credit. Okay, so we have about 5 minutes left. Questions and comments so far? I think that's the end before I give you kind of like the assignment stuff. All right. All right, just a mic check. We're gonna go through the assignments here. Awesome, thank you. All right, so here, okay, so let me show you how to get to this part. Is actually, I want to make sure you know how. There's no direct link, but if you go to the sidebar here, you go to kind of like, okay, so you can either go through that way, and then there was another way somewhere about GitHub. here in this course progression. Here's the second way you can get to it. So here I made a Jira board, and we're probably gonna run over. So if you got to drop off, feel free to do so. I don't want to take up your time, but this is recorded, so hopefully you can just watch it later. So no worries there. So at work, we track, and I'll post a link here. We track our tasking, our deliverables, our requirements in something a little nicer than a spreadsheet. Agile prescribes like issue trackers, so there's Jira, there's any kind of like software development tool. There's some sort of issue tracking feature. So there's Redmine, that's kind of old, but within GitHub. So I went down to GitHub, so I'm gonna stick with it. Nowadays I kind of like GitLab a little bit better, but we'll stick with GitHub. So each of these cards are kind of like assignments. So this is kind of just for the people that's actually registered, and some people auditing. So for those that are just auditing, you don't have to do this. So today, I'm gonna move over these ones. It's kind of what we talked about today. I'm gonna make it a little smaller here, make it easier to work with. Actually, let me back up a bit. So for the people that are taking this class for credit, what I want you to do right now, if you can, you probably actually might not be able to because you haven't signed up and given me your GitHub account for me to add to you. But eventually, I want you to create a new card and then replace my username with your username, and then check it off as you're done. And then when you're done with everything here, then put it to the done. So then I know that I need to follow up with whoever's not done with their cards in this column. So again, this is just me making sure that whoever needs help, I'm helping out. I'm not grading you or like, I'm not grading you here. But this is just a way for me to track progress, and like, if a ton of people are still stuck on this one card or task, then maybe we need to spend more time on it. So that's that. So as soon as you can, please create a GitHub account. It's the same GitHub account you use for your live share. Remember we talked about that tool that we can collaboratively edit the file. So you're gonna need an account for that tool. So because Microsoft owns GitHub, VS Code is Microsoft. It allows you to use either a Microsoft account or a GitHub account, so you can choose which one you want. But to do this assignment tracking thing, you need GitHub. So my recommendation is just get a GitHub account, and they can use it twice. Okay, so again, just copy, you can edit here, copy and paste the text. It's all marked down, if you're familiar with Markdown. And then just paste it in here and create a new one. And then again, change the name. Okay, so for today's assignment, please look over the calendar, make sure you agree with the dates, and if you have any conflicts, let me know. Prefer to make accommodations earlier than later, if possible. because there's more options to adjust earlier. So here, let's go through a bit. So look over the calendar, sign up for your account. The chat is in Slack. The mailing list is in groups.io. If you have a GitHub account, make sure you have, you can use whichever editor, but my recommendation is use VS Code and get live share set up. So as you go through, you can check it off. So yeah, so there's groups, there's the Slack, VS Code, and make sure you can join this organization. Once you have a GitHub account, send me your username. And then you can also fill out your username here. I think that'll be easier. So you can just fill this out with your GitHub username, and then sometime between now and tomorrow, I'll add everyone. So I'll leave these three here for now in the in progress column, and you can do that. But because you don't have GitHub yet, you might do a paper pencil version for now. And then as we progress, we'll keep on dragging more cards into the progression in progress column. Questions, comments? Oh wait, I don't have access to there. I was supposed to. Yeah. So yeah, once right after this, I'll hang on, and if you already have your GitHub, I'll just add it before I drop off today. But that'll be kind of like an after office hour thing. Any question, comments, concerns before we break, and then I'll work on the GitHub access. And I'll also, if you're worried about being recorded, I'll ask you again after I stop the recording. All right, so I'm gonna stop now.